Hi everyone, let's talk about WWE Monday Night Raw, which I thought was a decent show from January 13th, 2025. Let's talk about it, guys. Let's talk about it. The show opens with commentary welcoming us to the show and a recap of last week's show, followed as the SUV roll up into a loading dock and CM Punk steps up brightened eyes and blushy tail, and the camera follows him all the way through his entrance into getting into the ring onto the mic, and he stokes in the reaction of the crowd before taking a moment to thank all the vets and fighters of the state of California and fighters raising and more, and then he moves in, and then he moves towards the entertainment wise, and then he starts talking about the Royal Rumble. Like I said, let's talk about it, guys, anyways. So he moves on to the entertainment percent of the evening, and he talks about tearing his ripped off the bones in the Royal Rumble last year and how that led him into the seeds in the sense and he does the John Cena "You Can't See Me" wave and suits into talking about Cena and says he sees him and he always has, and he declares himself for the Royal Rumble, but he's here to tell us that so he is. And then enter CM, here enters Seth Rollins. I meant to say Seth Rollins. I said CM Punk. But comes Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins comes as much to Punk because since he gets in the eyes and stares CM Punk down with a black eye before saying he knows CM Punk isn't happy to see him, but he didn't be surprised because last week he said he won, lost, lose or draw, he'll be standing in the ring and be a man of his word. But if he wasn't a man of his word, he'll be just like CM Punk. And CM Punk points out he won last week, and Seth Rollins says he'd rather be the worst version of himself than any version of CM Punk, and he lost a lot of matches and big matches and main events and title matches, and he lost at WrestleMania, but last week was the worst loss of his career, and he's disappointed he couldn't get it done, and his only retribution is to flush CM Punk's WrestleMania dreams down the toilet. And so Seth is declared for the Royal Rumble, and CM Punk throws a verbal jabs at his way, and then Drew McIntyre came out. Yep, Drew McIntyre came out, guys, against CM Punk's concession, and he gets on the mic from the stage and says he has topped himself in the realm of self-service, and CM Punk tells him the last time he saw him, he was bleeding in the ring and crying and begging for assistance, and he's going to take a long more than 15 staples to his close of his forehead if he comes to the ring this time. And Drew tells him blah blah blah. It wasn't talking about you. I was talking about Seth. And Seth Rollins predictably doesn't take that well. And Drew McIntyre says the two of them in the ring are the same. And the only difference is that Punk is willing to accept that he's an asshole. And he goes back and forth. And Punk says he's out of patience, and for this conversation, if he's one of them wants to swing, he's right here and they're ready to fight. And then Rollins takes his jacket off and gets ready to go, and Drew offers to take a three-way and marches towards the ring before, of course, deciding that he would never do that because they have a bigger problem that Roman Reigns playing chess. Well, everyone else is playing checkers, and he'll just have to step up and lead the locker room. If only there was every man for himself match for a since title match. Oh wait, there is, and I'll be. He said, "Oh wait, there is," and he'll see both of them in the Royal Rumble. So yeah, he said, "I'll see both of you in the Royal Rumble." Then now it gets the sense of since arriving at the arena, American Made makes their entrance ahead of Chad Gable's match against the best luchador. Then and Adam Pearce can find Michael Cole says maybe it should have been a little fear about what's next because of course he's going to fight Penta El Miro Cero. Then we had the match. Then they had the match. His debut match, Penta's debut match. Let's talk about it. And his match this week too with fucking Pete Dunne. Oh man. Let's talk about it anyway. So Chad Gable's facing Pete. Penta. I said, I was thinking about that match with Pete Dunne. Sorry, Chad Gable faced Penta El Cero. I said it again. But anyways, guys, Penta faced Chad Gable, which was a fantastic debut from Penta. Like I said again, fantastic. So yes, guys, Chad Gable faced Penta El Ciro. Let's talk about Ciro Miro Chat. And Chad Gable grabs his hand and twist lock, reverse side headlock, and shoots up, drop down, and Penta rolls him over with his feet and back to the headlock and arm dragger, and Chad rolls through and reverses drop toe hold and side headlock of his own, and hand send in a test of strength and trading near falls off the rope and trading deep arm drags, trading heel strips and quick pins, and Chad Gable shoves him into the corner for chomps and rips across. Ciro splashes him with a super kick and then back rolls into a press leg drop off the bottom rope, and Chad rolls to the floor off the ropes, and Chad Gable pops back in an exploder suplex nope, and the Chad Gable throws him into the corner and Melt punches to the zone, and you suck, Chance, you suck, you suck. Then Penta boxes his ears and slips under, and this chick Nickel sets up and then sling shot step into the corner, and Chad Gable on the apron and rolling stood but sits, cuts him off and back and forth, and Chad Gable lands a German suplex off the apron, and Chad Gable off after with a leg kick, pulling Penta's knee into the ring post and dropping knee to the knee over and over before spiking his leg into the mat, and back suplex gets a near fall, and Chad Gable's in control, diving headbutt, no water in the pool, and Penta with a super kick and humming into the corner and charging in, and Chad Gable belly to belly suplex him hard into the turnbuckle and trading chops on their knees and to their feet, and cruise screw bulldog from Penta and back belly drop sends Chad Gable crashing to the floor, and Penta El Ciro sending his knees butterfly and slapping life into it off to the rope, and a top con cruel both men down and onto the floor and back inside, whips to the corner, and Penta gets a low blower, still no, and then back and forth. Chad Gable's up top and drawing Penta to his feet on the apron and meets with a slap, and Penta snaps up to the mat and charging flip power driver gets a near fall. Then Penta El Ciro wrist bust and runs house kick, and Penta El Ciro fires up, gluing his tongue, and Chad Gable catches a kick and lands a dragon screw leg whip and an ankle lock since Penta El Ciro pulling him back into the middle of the ring, and Penta El Ciro counters and rolls into a step over arm lock, and he breaks Chad Gable's arm with the sacrifice pump handle, and that's what happened right there, guys. And that's how Penta won with the Penta driver. Oh man, like I told you guys, like that debut, spot on. Then post-match, Penta is interviewed in the ring. He thanks San Jose and says this is his new home, and he knows everyone was waiting for this moment, and he wants to say the real truth is he's been waiting this moment, and he shifts to Spanish, talking something about Mexico and of Lens America and WWE before putting the camera force in for something else, and he thanks his family and shows back to English and says this is a new era, and it's not only it's the Netflix new era, it's the Penta's new era, and he does a Penta El Ciro, and he says love you, he says love, and he says he loves us. Then in the Judgment Day clubhouse, Finn Balor and Liv Morgan bicker, and Finn Balor says he's going to let her and Dominic Mysterio sort through their issues, and Dom has a sense of rose and she says she's not mad. He's not buying it, but she is since and she's not mad, and asked him to go get her a bag and Raquel Rodriguez bag and to go make sure the felon is ready, and she tosses the rose to Carlito to find somewhere to put them, and Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio is stoked that he's not mad, that she's not mad, and Finn tells him he has a lot to learn, and Finn and Jaden Madonna talk about how they want the tag titles back, and Jaden Madonna takes Carlito to go talk to Adam Pearce about it, and Colin gives, what I'm saying, Carlito gives Dominic Mysterio his rose back on his way out, and Finn tells him to get his girl back and continues getting ready for his match. And then Sheamus makes his entrance to send us to the break. Then back from the commercial break, Pat McAfee does their Since gimmick about some football man doing a bad pedigree in a celebration. And then Daniel Carrier is shown in the crowd as Braun Breaker. And then Ludwig Kaiser faced Sheamus, which was a great match with Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser. Oh man, let's talk about it. Filling out, Sheamus drops him with a lariat and pulls him out on the apron, but Ludwig Kaiser counters and he crushes to the floor and trading right hands onto the floor, and the Celtic Warrior Sheamus knocks him down back on the apron and right hand beats the Rudum decline, and Ludwig Kaiser knocks him up in the announce desk, and Ludwig Kaiser falls out after him and a cinch drop kicks onto the floor, sends us to the break, and back from the commercial break, Sheamus with big stomps and a lariat and Ludwig Kaiser to the apron, but the beat of the Orphans followed back inside and setting him up in the corner, and Avalanche white noise for two, and Ludwig Kaiser gets the Nicolagely, but Sheamus breaks I'll say again, the Nicolagely, but Sheamus cracks him with a knee for another near fall, and back and forth, and Ludwig Kaiser with the California rolls so close, and Sheamus gets the momentum, and Sheamus does the bro kick, and that's what happened right there, and that's how he defeated Ludwig Kaiser. Then the post-match, Sheamus confronts Braun Breaker at ringside, and Braun Breaker shoves him, and then Seth Rollins is interviewed backstage, and he says Drew McIntyre has been needing him for months, and he's sick of it, and next week they're going to fight about it, and he shows him one for WrestleMania, and next week it's going to be fun, and Seth Rollins into Sami Zayn, who tells him if he wanted to talk here. Seth admits it and was a rough week before saying it was a great week for Sami Zayn, right? And Sami Zayn is confused, and Seth Rollins says his boy Roman Reigns is the Tribal Chief again, and what's next is he's going to help him win the Royal Rumble and the world title, and he's going to keep helping Roman, or he's going to help himself. And Gunther is shown walking backstage to send us to the break. Then backstage from the commercial, Karrion Kross leaves Adam Pearce's office and betrays The Miz because he's just found out that the Wyatt Six has moved to SmackDown and he thinks it's his fault. And Sami Zayn rolls up to I'll say it again. Sami Zayn rolls up to go into Adam Pearce's office, and of course Karrion Kross gets in the head, and then Sami Zayn and The Miz go back and forth, and Sami Zayn says he's going to ask Adam Pearce for a match against him tonight. Then Oba Fibby is shown in the crowd. Then Gunther makes his entrance and gets on the mic, and he says last week he followed the debut of Raw on Netflix with a great entrance, and he was very impressed. The visual experience, but as far as the action in the ring goes, he was less impressive, and everyone is fighting over some personal drama, but the only price they're worth fighting for is his WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Then here comes Jey Uso, and Jey Uso says, if you need somebody to fight for the world title, he's your guy. Drew is behind him, and Bloodline Drama is behind him, and now he's coming for Gunther at Saturday Night Main Event, and Gunther says he's beating him twice, and Jey is convinced of a lot less than he is, and you'll get that he's funny and entertaining, but when that bell rings, he exposes him as a really talented tag team wrestler and nothing more, and he's just not on Gunther's level, and to him, the main event is a nickname, but the ring general is the main event is the place he belongs, and he'll let him challenge him at Saturday Night Main Event, but he wants Jey to really think about it before he gets exposed, and Gunther leaves, and Jey calls him back saying he does respect him and everything he said was true, and people say it's not supposed to be in this spot, and he's not supposed to sell all this merch, and he's just a tag team guy, but every morning he wakes up and beats on himself to earn the respect, and Gunther will respect him when he beats his ass for the world title. Then we get a Since hype reel for Lyra Valkyria and Dakota Kai, and we see the two of them walking backstage, separating as we go to the break. And man, this was a great match with Dakota Kai and Lyra Valkyria. And Lyra Valkyria is your new, your first ever Intercontinental Women's Champion. Lyra Valkyria is the first ever Intercontinental Women's Champion. I'll repeat it again, guys. Lyra Valkyria is your first ever, our first ever Intercontinental Women's Champion, man. That was good. Oh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it with Dakota Kai and Lyra Valkyria, two talented women, I'm telling you. Collar and elbow shoots off, rolls under and ducks a rollhouse. Fireman Carry and Lyra Valkyria whips out and shoves off Fireman Carry this time, and Dakota Kai whips out Soulmate and back to the lockup, and Lyra with a twist lock, and Dakota with a flying mirror, and Lyra ducks a stop and pulls her to the floor and rams her into the apron off the ropes and wrecking ball dropkick Dakota and catching her and diving her face into the apron, and Lyra comes back with a duplex off the apron into the floor, and we go to the break, and then back from the break, Lyra's with a cardboard rolling back to fit Dakota off the mat, cover for two, and Dakota with a super kick, and Lyra rolls soul butt shove, and Dakota Kai handstands kicks, and Lyra Valkyria lifts her up for a powerbomb, but Dakota Kai counters and slits her into the corner and kicks away and flips low blower, still no, and then the GTK block, and Lyra with the letter bomb so close, back and forth, and a scorpion kick, Dakota Kai and flinches, stomps to the back of the neck, and Fireman Carry GTK connects, and Lyra Valkyria rolls to the safety of the floor back inside, and Lyra Valkyria cuts her off, and that's how Lyra became the new champion, the new WWE Women's Intercontinental Champion and the first ever Intercontinental Champion, Lyra Valkyria. I keep on saying new, but you know what I'm saying, guys. That's how she became the first ever WWE Women's Intercontinental Champion, guys. Then the post-match, GM Adam Pearce presents her with the title and raises her hand, and Dakota Kai slides back into the ring, and Lyra raises her hand, and they embrace, which was good. And then we had Sami Zayn fences The Miz. Let's talk about that. Sami Zayn fences The Miz, which was a decent match. Let's talk about it, guys. Let's talk about it anyways. Collar and elbow, The Miz back elbows into the corner and loads with right hands and side headlocks and twisting it into Sami Zayn, shoots him off and drops down leg frog, and a huge elbow takes A-lister down and smashing his face into the turnbuckle, and diving an X handle connects, and Miz with a big knee and a running boot, and semicolon takes it to him in the corner, and Mount strikes and counter exploder suplex, and Lane in waits charging in, but the A-lister knocks him down with a big boot and falls with the basement DDT, and so close, pressing the attack corner to corner, and Sami Zayn hits the hella kick and follows it up, and that's how Sami Zayn defeated The Miz. And I keep on saying semicolon for some reason. And we see Rhea Ripley walking backstage to send us to break. I'll say it again, guys. We see Rhea Ripley walking backstage to send us to break. Then back from the break, Rhea Ripley makes her entrance and gets on the mic, and she says Mommy is back on top, and she might sound like a broken record, but if you forget, she's Rhea Bloody Ripley, and she's one of the most dominated women in WWE, and now once against your WWE Women's World Champion, and enters Nia Jax wearing a cheetah prints of a cheetah print bodysuit and friends, and all of it animal print, but it's a lot and all of that stuff. And then she says she was just talking to Adam Pearce about the conference window. She's decided to come down here to tell everyone she's winning the Royal Rumble and taking whatever title she wants. And Tiffany Stratton might think she's on the triple top, but Rhea might think she's on top, and she doesn't know why Bayley is at ringside. And Bayley says she lives here, and Nia runs her down for living in a crappy town, and Bayley jumps in the barricade, and Nia makes scary fingers and insults Bayley's ass and is since the role model, and says the might not be her show, but it's her city, and Nia Jax should say it's to her, and you big dumb idiot. And Nia Jax shoves her down and shoves Rhea Ripley down and headbutts and chains, but the babyface is sent Nia Jax packing with kicks. Then The commentary hypes up the next week's show with, JBL, which happened this past week. And then Finn Balor and Damian Priest get their suits promo ahead of their match. And Damian Priest makes his entrance to send us to the break. And then we had the main event with the street fight. I thought it was good with Finn Balor and Damian Priest. It was a good, decent. It wasn't great, but it was decent main event. It was a decent main event. Let's talk about it. So Finn Balor hammers his Damian Priest with candlestick shots off the floor and putting him into the table of the apron. And Damian catches him with a reverse STO into the desk. And Damian Priest goes under the ring platter and he goes out with a table, setting to the table up. And Finn Balor comes back and shoulders him over the barricade out to the crowd, and Damian meets him with a kick and throws him over the cinch barricade, and Finn Balor smacks him with a full trash can, and a few times Damian Priest takes it from him and returns the favor before putting him over his shoulders and darting him into the barricade on his own back to the ringside, and Finn Balor catches him with a kick over the barricade on the far side and hits Damian with an open chair, then chomps and whips reverse, and Finn Balor goes through and ascends barricade and up some chairs, and Priest scoops him up and breaking Earl of, balance. I'll say it again, balance and through a table. And the refs and Rich Ellens checked them as we go to the break, which was insane. That part was freaking insane, though. That part was insane. Then back from the commercial, we see that Finn Balor has been loaded onto a cart and it's been rolled out, but Damian Priest isn't done yet, and he's attacking Damian Priest on the stage, and he sends them packaging. And since Finn Balor interrupts him and rails to the stretcher down the ramp and sending Finn Balor flying off of it into the ring and then calling it off the ropes and X-Bomber for South of Heavens, but Judgment Day has recovered, and the lights on Damian and Jaden Madonna with a moonsault. He and Carlito put Finn up top like it's weekend on Bernie's, and Kreese kicks out of the quote-unquote War Raiders make the save, and then they take JD out with the War Machine rolling to the back, and Finn hits a sling blade, wailing on Damian with a steel chair, and horror coloring him in head of steam, but Damian Priest pops up South of Heavens with the chair still around his neck, and Finn Balor kicks out, setting Damian up through the table onto the floor in the criminal crawl to the table, then crushing Damian Priest to his feet, and Damian recovers and stampedes him through the timekeeper's barricade, and Damian Priest follows it with a razor's edge through a table. Back inside, the strips are down, and Grizzly, he says he's not his brother's keeper, and Damian Priest won with the South of Heavens and defeated Finn Balor, which was a good match. Guys. It wasn't a banger to me, because I've seen these guys before, but it was a good match, though. It was a good match. And I give this Raw a 7 out of 10, guys. A 7 out of 10. I'm telling you guys, I give this Raw a 7 out of 10. It was a decent show, in my opinion. Like I said again, guys, I thought it was a decent show, and that's what I have to say. So don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit those notification bells as always, guys. This is Christopher Jackson Denver, and we're out.